I've been thinking about this, right? So you've said before multiple times that you think you've been canceled because you were influencing the youth, and you were helping them become more masculine. And I've marinated and thought about that a while. Like, because as you grow, and I'm like watching your trajectory and what happened to you, and all of a sudden my content just went big out of nowhere. I'm like, damn, I kind of have to be considerate to that, right? What happened to you? Be careful, sir.
Be careful.
It could happen to me. And every day I post something, I'm like, this could literally be my last day. I think it every day. And I was like, why did Andrew get canceled so hard? And I've been thinking about it. And I don't think it's because you were influencing the youth. I don't think so. I think it's because you have the largest internet army in the world. And I think because the movement of people behind you, I don't think it mattered if they were masculine or not. You were also teaching them to understand how to use the internet. And I think in the training of an army, they're like, all right, this is over the line. Because right before you got canceled was the, what was it? The GME, GameStop. And Wall Street bets.
That's true.
And they saw people gather around a movement. And they almost crushed Wall Street. And at the end of the day, spoiler alert, they all got crushed because you can't beat them. But they saw that happening, and that was organic. And that was with a guy that's a leader that really doesn't have the characteristics of leader. Right after him, you came along, and it seems organized, and people are gathering behind you and behind your movement of damn the man, damn the system is broken, and they're coming for you. And they look into you and they're like, he's also teaching them how to use the internet.
I agree with you. They fear the power. They fear the power structure. I'm the bad employee who got a bunch. I've started a union now.
And you're the union rep.
I'm the union rep, and they don't like me. I think in life, if you're going to be non-emotional about things, which I try my best to be, I enjoy being emotional on purpose. I will decide to be emotional in certain situations if it makes them more pleasurable. If I'm with my kids, I decide to be emotional, but I can turn it off, and I look at things hyper-logically. As a hyper-logical man, I will sit here and say that as unfair as The Matrix has been to me, in many ways, they could have been miles worse. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to sit here and say, considering I became the most Googled man on the planet, telling the truth and fighting against their narratives that they've been trying to enforce for a very long time. We said psyops are slow. They've been trying for a very long time to get men to a position where they're apathetic and don't want to be masculine anymore. I've come along and derailed to a degree a lot of their plans in a very short period of time. I've undone years of work in a few short months. I'm surprised I'm alive. I'm not going to lie to you right now. They could have got rid of me much easier. So they've actually been no headphones. They've actually been pretty soft on me considering what they could have done to me. But certainly they fear centralized power structures. And when I was in jail, I got a letter from somebody saying he was organizing a huge protest. I think it was in America. And he said he wants to put a huge protest together, and he's already got 25,000 people who signed up, etc. And I said, no, don't do that, because I feel like I'm already on the verge of becoming a national security threat. Once people start getting in together in huge groups and rioting in my name, I'm toast.
Oh, that's it.
It's over, bro. Once you're a national security threat, I mean, to give you an example, my host nation, UK, hates me the most. Members of parliament stand up in parliament complaining about how the fact I'm still on the internet and they can't get rid of me, and they passed the internet safety bill and I'm still there. And these are members of parliament, the most important people in the country and the most important building in the country, talking about how I have to go. Once you're a national security threat, all bets are off. That's when you can get drone striked. That's when you can get assassinated. That's when you can get arrested without trial. That's when you get thrown in Belmarsh for 14 years or whatever, like some other guy. You just disappear when you're an NSA. So NST. So I don't want that to happen to me. So I just sit here and say, look, guys, agency, individualism, work hard, be yourself. I'll teach you the things I know. Yes, sure. But I know the limits of my movement, and I know why they attacked me. And I think we talk about how it's not because I was influencing the youth to be masculine. It's masculinity they fear the most. I think that is a huge element of it. I would say that if I was teaching people how to make money and I was saying certain things, but I wasn't so strict and so large on the masculine contingent of the personality in regards to the fact you have to stand up and die for what you believe in, I don't think they would have seen me as such a threat. But I think they looked at me and thought, this guy is going to be hard to control. And I'll say it right here on this podcast, I've been offered to shut up.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, which
I've
is
been
crazy.
offered to shut up.
Yeah.
And many people don't understand that this is how selling your soul works, because I've tweeted before, if they ever kill me, the details on exactly how they asked me to sell my soul will be released. And that's true. But what they effectively do, I'll give you the very sanitized version. They come along with a sponsorship contract. And they come and say, look, we're going to pay you $50 million. your official opinions are X, Y, and Z. You don't talk about this. You're going to wear these clothes and you're going to act this way. And you're going to laugh when they make certain jokes about this certain haram crap. And you're going to be this kind of little fruity idiot like all the liberals are. And you're going to get paid all this money. And if anyone asks you about these things, you're going to say this, and this. And we're going to protect you. And they don't say we're going to protect you. What they say is, don't worry, we have huge partners in the media, so we'll make sure that any story before it comes out, we can see it in advance and we can give our own reply. Basically saying, we'll make sure the media says good things about you. We'll pay you money and you're going to have this opinion. And that's how you sell your soul. And then you join the machine. And now I'm guessing, because I said no, I'm guessing that's the beginning of it, because then you get invited to the industry parties, right?
This podcast episode was brought to you by VP.net. The only VPN that can't spy on you.
If I would have sold my soul, I'd be at the Grammys.
Yeah.
I would have never got arrested. I'd be at the Grammys. I would have gone to an after party at the Grammys. Fucking Trevor Noah or whoever else would be doing something fucking haram in the corner with fuck knows who. I'd be in the same room. It'd be on camera. Boom. Then they got me blackmailed. I'm paranoid. I don't trust this stuff. I don't want to go near these people. I don't want to hang around with them. I don't do any of the weird shit they do. Every 5 minutes, a sex tape's coming out about some celebrity. Some dude, some fucking guy has his dick out every 5 minutes. Why would you do that if you're a celebrity? Unless it's all purposeful or it's set up or they want something on you. It's all a scam. So when I instantly refused, and I think that's what upset them the most, was my instant refusal. When I was offered this contract, and I'm not going to say who it's from because I don't want to die yet. And I said no. And they're like, well, your lawyer, do you want to send it to your lawyer? No. I've just read that I need to have official opinions. The answer is no. It was only a few months after that I ended up in a jail cell. I knew what was going to happen. They looked at me and go, this is a big guy with a lot of influence. There's a lot of people who listen to him. Let's use him as a tool to purport the ideas we want the people to believe. He refused. All right, teach him a lesson. We gave the bad employee a written warning and he refused. Well, then what happens next? Something has to happen. And if you're at home thinking that you can become massively influential and not have the attention of these people or offers like that, then you're not very smart on how the world works. If you get big enough, they're going to come to you. Sir, I'm warning you. If you get big enough, they're going to come to you and they're going to offer you a whole bunch of money and you can take it and you'll be okay. Or you can stick to your principles and your morals and you'll suffer.
Yeah, they've asked me to, can you talk about this? Can you talk about this? We'll pay you this much, talk about this issue or talk about this issue. And even if it's something I agree with, I can't say yes to any of it because I know if you say yes one time, it's never going to end. You know, you can't say yes and then all of a sudden say no. So it's just not possible.
Well, let's tie this back into what I was saying about how they were threatened by my masculinity and the fact I teach masculinity. What type of person will reject money and reject his own personal financial gain for his morals? A man. Only a man will do that. I will argue now that weak men and women would be far more likely to take the cash for their own selfish interests. Only a man stands up and says, no, this is wrong, so I disagree. Because men have been like this since the dawn of time. Women and children first on the lifeboats. I'm a man, I will suffer, it is my job. So I sat there and said, no, my sanity is not for sale, sir. I reject your $50 million. I don't need it anyway because I'm not a peasant and I'm not going to listen to you. And they couldn't believe it because most people in my position, if I was a girl and of course, I'm not being misogynistic. I'm just talking in generals. If I was a chick and they came along and some makeup brand offered me a bunch of money and like, oh yeah, and you have to, for this episode, you have to do a pro-transgender episode or a pro-LGBT episode because it's Pride Week and here's all your money and you're part of our makeup brand. She'd be like, okay. She wouldn't even realize how far down the psyop she is. She wouldn't even realize what she's doing. Only me as a man sat there and saw exactly what it was. This is a bribe. You are attempting to bribe me. And the fact that I said no and then went on an emergency meeting afterwards and started screaming that my sanity is not for sale, there was a room somewhere. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was in Washington, D.C. I don't know if it was in London. I don't know if it was on the moon. I don't know where. There was a room of people who sat around and watched my emergency meeting a few hours after I rejected their contract and thought, he's a problem.
Yeah.
He's a problem.
Yeah. How dare he?
How dare he?
How dare he deny our offer? It was a fair offer.
It was a very good offer. And this arrogant idiot thinks this arrogant guy doesn't understand how the world works. The thing is, I did understand.
Yeah.
That's what they don't get. I did know how the world works, which is why I started saying they're going to put me in jail, which is probably frustrates them even more that I'm not scared of them. I understand where this ends and I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm hoping, at least when you said I'm a general, I'm hoping I'm at least inspiring bravery in enough other people because they can't put us all in jail.
No.
They can't put us all. They can put me in jail if I'm alone. But if there's thousands of us,
Yeah.
then it becomes harder. Then the matrix cracks. Then the new system is built. Perhaps we can save the world.
And it's something I say all the time. Like, if more people stood up and said, no, enough is enough, they can't cancel everybody.
Correct.
Who's going to consume all their content? Who's going to buy all their technology? Who's going to scroll their apps if everyone is canceled?
Correct.
It's power of the numbers.
Correct.
So if everyone has to say something, otherwise, they're just going to keep on making examples of people. And that's what it is. You take the most famous guy you can, you make an example of him. They try to do it to you. They try to do it to like Russell Brand.
Yep.
They try to do a lot of people out there, the guys who just get out of line.
Yep.
And you can either, be scared and not speak up, or you can join the community of people like, enough is enough. This is bullshit. We don't want to live like this any longer.
Absolutely.
And we understand that there are people out there playing God and we're just the ants. I understand our role in society. However, doesn't mean we don't try.
100%, bro. And I think then you go back into, you can look at that at a deeper level. The reason you try is because if you try, you feel happy in your heart. I can't explain the satisfaction I feel in my soul knowing that I am a problem to the enemy. It's not about, okay, I can't even compare the joy of a Ferrari or money or a yacht or girls or private jets to me knowing the enemy is mad because of me. Maybe I'm petty. Maybe I'm immature. But like when you're a kid and you've annoyed someone and you get that smile. It's like deep in my heart. Even when I was in jail, there was times I was in jail, they would take me to the DCAW office and ask me a bunch of questions. And I would just sit there and say, no comment, no comment, no comment. And they'd say, well, if we can get through this interview, you can go home. And I go, I get to go home? They're like, yeah, you can go home if we can just answer these few questions. And I'm like, oh, okay. No comment. And when they sent me back to jail, I was like, yes. Like I've annoyed them. Maybe I'm petty, but I feel that joy of knowing I'm a thorn in their side. And that's what we need more of, because if you don't own your soul, if you don't own your integrity, you don't really own anything anyway. People are obsessed with trying to get hold of money and get hold of all these material assets. They haven't been through the matrix system yet. You don't own that stuff. If you think the money in your bank is yours, piss the government off. You think the house you live in is yours, piss the government off. You think the land you live on is yours, don't pay your property taxes. You don't own a thing. And you can build some complicated legal structure, and you can have a trust fund, which owns a company, which owns a trust fund, and you can try your very best to Aikido it and hide it. But if you become public enemy number one, if you become large enough, they'll find it and they'll take it. You own nothing but your soul. That's all you have. So that's the number one thing you should be concerned with. I've learned now from my matrix attack, I don't own anything. All my houses were taken. They found every single piece of money they could find that I owned and they could prove they took. Now, I'm okay. I'm smart. I prepared. But if you're sitting there going, oh, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to sell my soul for money in the bank, that's the biggest scam on the planet, because you don't even own that money in the bank. You don't own anything. It's kind of amazing. People, especially in the West, there are certain countries where they don't have property tax, for example. But the idea you think you own your house and you have to pay property taxes to take it off you. You just rent it from the government. You don't even own it. And then you paid a bunch of interest on a mortgage so that you can own a house that you now rent from the government. It's all a scam. It's all a lie. And if you don't do as you're told, they're going to take it off you anyway. So what do you have besides your integrity? And I think we need to instill that in more men. That's what they need to wake up and say, I'm doing the right thing, even if I suffer for it.
I just had a thought. If you took the money, you'd probably be Taylor Swift's boyfriend right now.
Bro, full of vaccine.
Yeah,
Well,
you'd be that guy. You could have been the booster guy. If I took the money, our channel would be 10 times bigger. Our reach would be 100 times wider. But we refuse to give in to the matrix. If you guys want to support the pod, definitely pick up some merch. It's really the only way that we're able to self-sustain. It's not cheap to go to Romania and get these interviews. It's not cheap to go to Iowa to get these interviews and coverage. So if you want to see more of it, definitely pick up some merch. Let's talk about Taylor.
Yeah, I 100% could have been Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I could have taken the saline injections, because the famous people, they can't be dying, right? So they don't take the real vaccine. I could have taken the saline injections. I could have been Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I could have had Dua Lipa and Katy Perry in the corner cucked. I could have been sitting around being king of it all. I could have taken Britney Spears for a wild ride. She's crazy. That would have been an interesting night. But yeah, I could have sold my soul and I would have been at the Grammys, at the Oscars, hanging around with all these people, and I'd be Andrew Tate, and I could have just shut up about certain things. And I probably could have kept the semblance of my message and said a few things and like skirted on the edge of trying to motivate people, but not saying too much, and just sat there and took the fame and took the money and not go to jail. And I could have done all of that. but I would have sold my soul, man. Don't you understand? Maybe I'm stupid. Sometimes I look in the mirror and think, am I dumb? Like, am I just so petty and principled? Am I an idiot? Couldn't I have just taken the money and spent time with my children and had this fantastic life? Did I make a mistake? And then every once in a while, something happens and it reminds me that I didn't make a mistake. And I'll give you a very simple example of it. Last time I felt like I really did the right thing is when I did Piers Morgan. And he started asking me about Israel-Palestine.
Yeah.
And he started trying to get me to say what he wanted me to say. And I was like, no, it's a genocide. And I don't care what you say. That is wrong. And that is what I believe. We don't have to even argue whether what I believe is true, even though it is. The point is, if I had signed that contract, I would have been told what to say. And when I put his stupid ass in his place about the vaccine and about Israel and Palestine, I felt good again. I was like, no, I've made the right decision. And sorry, Taylor, you're not going to get the top G. You're stuck with Mr. Vaccine. You're not allowed me because you've sold your soul and I refused.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.